they left a telegram for the St. Louis Dispatch giving an account of the robbery. The following appeared in all the Sunday morning papers. The most daring robbery on record. The southbound train on the Iron Mountain Railroad was robbed this evening by 5 heavily armed men and robbed of $3,000. The robbers arrived at the station a few minutes before the train arrived and arrested the agent, put him under guard, and then threw the train switch. The robbers are all large men, none of them under 6 feet tall. They were all masked and started in a southerly direction after they robbed the train, all mounted on fine-blooded horses. There's a hell of excitement in this part of the country. Not only was Jesse a thief and a murderer, he was a good PR marketer. He understood the fine art of spin.
So welcome to my Jesse James adventure. This is a 22-channel video installation. It has taken 3 years of my life to complete. So I was always told as a child that I was related to Jesse James. I just didn't know the exact genealogy. So on my maternal grandmother's side is the James clan. And my mother's first cousin did the genealogy and gave it to me. Here in the picture is my great-great-grandmother. Like all good tales, this one is a little bit sordid. She had 3 husbands. Pictured here is husband number 1. And coincidentally, husband number 1 and husband number 3 were brothers. And the 2 of them had a daughter, and this was my great-grandmother. After husband number 1 died, she married William James. And William James, known as Billy, was the first cousin of Frank and Jesse James. Now, he had a son from a previous marriage that he brought into the family. And so my great-grandmother and Billy James's son got together and they got married. So she married her stepbrother, thus continuing the James bloodline. And they had a daughter, my grandmother, Margaret James.
Jesse James shot dead. From New York Tribune, April 4th, 1882. Jesse James, the bandit, killed. Shot through the head by a member of his own gang who says he is a detective. St. Joseph, Missouri, April 3rd. A great sensation was created in this city this morning by the announcement that Jesse James, the notorious bandit and train robber, had been shot and killed here. The news spread with great rapidity, but most persons received it with doubt until investigation established the fact beyond question.
So you might be wondering why gun scopes as a viewing device in the gallery. I think that the context of the project has really shifted for me over the past few months. 3 years ago, if you had said to me, asked me if this project was about race, I would have said no. Today, within our current context, it would be irresponsible and naive of me to deny the connections to race. This was the James brothers outlawed in a time right after the Civil War, when the Ku Klux Klan was lynching and killing Black Americans. And we are living in a current time where Black Americans are being targeted and killed by law enforcement. When I was looking for the gun scopes, it was about 2 weeks after George Floyd's murder. I went into Cabela's, which is an amusement theme park for all things hunting and fishing. And one thing I noticed was that the front windows were all boarded up, and there was a very long line of at least 50 people, primarily white males, that were lined up to buy guns. And in talking to the gun store owners as well as gun dealers online, I was told that gun sales have really skyrocketed since COVID and the protests, and people are building up arsenals due to fear.
Jesse James' grave to be exhumed. Chicago Tribune, July 13th, 1995. Who is buried in Jesse James' grave? Certainly not the famous outlaw, according to Jesse James IV, a carpenter from Leander, Texas, who says he is the great-grandson of one of America's most famous bandits.